Hey folks, Floyd Steinberg, one of my favorite DIY music tech YouTubers, just shared on Patreon what he is earning from YouTube. The reason I find this interesting is because his channel has 30,000 subscribers, which is an achievable number for us mere mortals. Learning what something like Mr. Beast is earning on YouTube, they're just in a different stratosphere, so much so that it just doesn't apply to us. But in this video, I'll go over the numbers that he just posted. I'll also share what I'm earning on YouTube, and we'll look at a free tool that'll let you estimate what other YouTubers are earning. Let's get started. Alright, so if you don't know Floyd Steinberg, here's his channel. He has 33,000 subscribers currently.
Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. And today, the Cosmo Lab by Fase Lunari.
He does a lot of music tech reviews and DIY projects. His videos get anywhere from a few thousand views to some of his more popular ones, like this video has 15,000. Here's another one with 21,000. So it's kind of in different things. And this is sort of what the music tech YouTube channels look like now. Some videos will get a few thousand views and other ones will pop off a little bit because they're blessed by the algorithm. And of course, the algorithm is just people, but it does use data based on how long people are watching the videos, who clicks on the videos. Anyways, algorithms are a whole other topic. Today we're just looking at the numbers. Alright, so yesterday Floyd posted this video on Cosmo Lab, and at the bottom of it there was a comment that brought about this post. $600? Maybe if they paid Floyd less for marketing, it could have come in at a lower price point. Now that's a pretty bold claim to assume that they're paying him money, and they're actually not. Floyd responded with saying that he's always transparent whenever he's receiving payment or if he received free gear, and then points out that there are comparable products at a similar price. Oh, that looks awesome. But this product that he's reviewing, it's something for developers to create more stuff. It uses the Daisy Seed, which I'm hearing more about the Daisy Seed. I actually just picked one up, so get subscribed for that. But yeah, this device is expensive if you're just using it as a general user. I think it's more for developers to be able to rapidly prototype what they're working on. But the whole reason this applies to us is because that seems to be the catalyst what brought about this post. This is the cost-benefit analysis of running a 30K sub YouTube channel. I often pondered making a video on this topic, but I'll test the waters by writing this short article. If Floyd does end up making a video on this, then definitely check it out and I'll leave a link below. Alright, then it goes on to summarize what we were just saying about the comment section. On yesterday's video of the Cosmo Lab, some people didn't like the price tag, and went on to claim that the price would have been lower if the developer didn't have to pay me for making the video. Now there's a lot of cool useful stuff on this article. We're mostly just going to focus on the numbers. But just to put a bow in that one, he said he does not take money for making a video on a product. And we know this to be true with a lot of music tech YouTube. Usually if anything you might get sent some free software or you might get a device that you get to keep. But money rarely changes hands, and usually like a channel with me, I'm not getting offers from like Arturia and stuff. I'm getting from like AI slop companies. Which brings us to this video's sponsor, AI Slop. But no, the sponsor stuff will be relevant here in a second. He goes on to say YouTube is the only platform that is paying creators by sharing ad revenue. Now I think you could also say that for Twitch, and TikTok I think pays out, X does. But certainly YouTube is the OG of monetizing long-form video content. While the size of the payment depends on various factors like the time of year, the topic of your video, and so on, as a rule of thumb you can assume 1,000 views equals €1 or $1. I think this is generally correct. It might be closer to $2 per 1,000 views, but it's definitely in that ballpark, and it's different depending on which niche you're in and how many views your videos are getting. For example, my most successful video on the Yamaha QY100 has made $297.76. I assume this is meant to be a decimal point. We just write it differently in the US. So with earning around $300, we can assume that this video has between 150,000 and 300,000 views. That's $1 to $2 per 1,000 views. And look, he's getting them ad dollars right now. So yeah, that's right on the money. It has 183,000 views. All in all, this usually sums to an amount of roughly $275 per month. So we multiply that times 12. You math heads can do it in your heads real fast. And I see that it's $3,300. So $3,300 is what it comes to for the earnings for the year. 33,000 subscribers, $3,300 for the year. Now, subscriber count doesn't always correspond to views, but we'll see more about that in a minute. He says that's his largest portion of income from YouTube, but he then monetizes the hobby in other ways. For example, he sells some of the gear that he gets that he's not going to keep, like he doesn't need 8 MIDI controllers. He uses affiliate links where you can earn money whenever someone buys something from clicking your link. He has some paying Patreon members and a Gumroad shop where he sells different sound packs and presets. There's also the tiny amount of money that he earns from streaming platforms. I'm not saying that he earns a little bit. I'm saying we all earn a little bit from streaming. And finally, earning money from sponsorships, which he doesn't take a lot of them, but he has used Brilliant and PCBWay, and that amounted to $1,100 for the year. All in all, he summed the total up to $7,400 for the year's worth of work, and then based on the time he's put in, he estimated he's working at about $7 an hour. He goes on to say he would still run this channel even if he wasn't earning anything. He makes some great points about DIY music YouTubers. I recommend reading the rest of the article for that stuff. I just want to focus on the numbers here, and now I want to share what I have earned in this past year. I forgot to do a drum roll. $969 for the past year. Hey, that's not bad. But as you can see, YouTube isn't my main bag. Sometimes I'll get where I'm like posting a bunch of videos and then I'll have like this hiatus where I might be dead. Most of my income comes from app development and really doesn't have much to do with YouTube at all. YouTube for me was always just an outlet to sort of share the stuff that I'm working on and highlight other developers that are creating cool stuff. But I do sometimes get tempted by the idea of what would it be like to be a full-time YouTuber, and that's why I think it's so useful to look at someone like Floyd. Currently I have 18,000 subscribers, he has 33,000 subscribers, so it's kind of cool to see what these next steps would be like. And we'll get to the conclusion soon, but I think you know what it is. All right, so here's a useful tool. This is socialblade.com. We can use it to calculate what other YouTubers are earning, and to validate our numbers, we're going to look at mine and Floyd's earnings. So first, let's start with Floyd Steinberg. Now, I'm not sure how accurate these daily view numbers are, but it gets us pretty accurate within the range. So he said around $1. I was saying between like $1 and $2, and you can see that our total is still a little bit shy of the $3,300 that he said that he earned for the year. So I think this number is probably closer to $250 maybe? Yeah, even $250 is shy. So let's move this up to $2 to $3. So now with putting the RPM between $2 and $3, we can see that his channel has earned roughly between $2,200 and $3,300 for the year. Does that mean that his videos are actually earning $3 per 1,000 views? Well, yes and no, because we don't know if this 3,060 number is exactly accurate. But we can validate it further by looking at my channel. So here in the YouTube dashboard, it says in the last year, I've earned the $968. Bruh, you miscounted my dollar. And that's from 404,000 views. It says the RPM is $2.39. We can see exactly how accurate that is if we enter in Moby Pixel, and the number was 239. So let's put it right there at 240. So at an RPM of 240, it's $1,067. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So I would put these sliders at $2 and $3. But now let's look at some slightly bigger music tech YouTubers. The GarageBand guide. I love all of Patrick's stuff. It says here he has 171,000 viewers. He cracked the 100,000 viewer mark not too long ago, and now he's about to do it again. GarageBand guide. All right, so it's estimating here between 8,400 and 12,700. And now we'll look at a much bigger YouTuber, Venus Theory, who has 422,000 subscribers.
Howdy doody buckaroonies, and welcome back to another episode of Grumpy Mustache Takes Big Stinky Poo Poo on Unison Audio.
So this is a little bit over 10x what Floyd has. So let's see if the earnings are 10x Floyd's. Venus Theory, and of course, subscribers does not necessarily correlate to views. But if we're to believe this number is accurate, then it puts his earnings between $20,000 and $30,000, which is about 10x what Floyd was earning. So from that, you can kind of deduce that earnings increase linearly, but your subscriber count and view count doesn't necessarily do that. Maybe it grows exponentially. At least that's the hope, but I have no data to back that up. So I just shut up about that. At this rate, a small YouTube channel will never earn enough to make a full-time living from it. However, the variable that can change things is if the growth of your channel can happen exponentially, so that earnings remain linear, but viewer count can go up exponentially. This, of course, is not a given. I think some people experienced this during the pandemic, but now with there being even more creators, it makes it harder to have people come back to your videos. And it's that much harder to crack into the YouTube algorithm, but it does help your videos to find their niche, even if those people are not your subscribers. Of course, someone like Venus Theory, he also has gotten a lot of work, probably from YouTube. He sells the sound packs, he does the side hustle, and just like Floyd Steinberg, I would imagine whatever he's earning from his videos, he probably earns that much or more just from the side work he generates through his YouTube content. So in conclusion, I think what we can say here is do it for the love and don't quit your day job. And that's it. This is actually the second time I recorded this video because the first time I couldn't have the microphone turned on. Maybe that's why I'm not a professional YouTuber. Definitely check out Floyd Steinberg's channel. If you're into the music techie stuff, then you'll feel right at home there. Let me know what you think about all this mumbo jumbo down in the comments, and
feed the algorithm.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.